Hello, Life Point Church. Welcome back for the last day in our lesson, What Does God Require? Left off yesterday talking about and kind of basing some of our conversation about a song from the 1800s called The Shelf Behind the Door. And we talked about how, we can obey God and we can profess to obey God and we can profess to do those good things and we can even do some good things, but if we're keeping something hidden and we're trying to keep something hidden from God, there's something in our life that we don't want to get rid of, that we're not completely obeying God, and we need to tear down that thing, and we need to own up to it and say, this is something I need to get rid of. This is something that I need to remove from my life, and ask God to help us do that thing. So we've seen that, Saul was kind of in that same position where he had put himself in that position by partially obeying what God had asked him to do, but overriding the rest of the command, thinking that he knew better than God. And we see that God quickly responded to Saul's rebellion and his stubborn defense of himself. Would it have been different? I imagine it would have been if Samuel had confronted Saul owned up to it, and then fixed it. Would it have been a different outcome? I wholeheartedly think so. Because you can go forward, to the next king, David. We see all throughout David's story, we see that David would be confronted with things that he did wrong, and he would own up to it. And what would God do? God would spare him. Were there still consequences? Absolutely. But God would spare that destruction. God would still call him, a man after my own heart. He would call him that he would use him as an example all throughout the remainder of the Old Testament, all throughout the New Testament, as someone that pleased God. Even though we know some of the mistakes that David made were pretty serious mistakes, he owned up to it. So we see that Saul did not do that. Saul did not own up to it. In 1 Samuel 15, 22 and 23, it says, "And Samuel said, Has the Lord as great of a delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord, or as in obeying his commandment? Behold, to obey is better than to sacrifice, and to hearken or to listen is better than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is an iniquity and idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of the Lord, he has also rejected you from being king." That's pretty harsh. And it was a very quick response. Saul did what was wrong. He then tried to defend and justify it. And God said, absolutely not. The first point Samuel makes, does God delight in sacrifice more than obeying him? Of course not. How does that make sense? Even on this physical earth, you picture, someone, you have a relationship with someone, and, there are these things that you like, or that are, kind of a requirement in this relationship. And that person just blows it off all the time, but, once in a while, they give you a really good gift. Once in a while, they do something really special. Once at a time, this person kind of follows through with part of it. Where does that leave us? We all know that that's not really a good relationship, right? That's not really where we want to be, because they're blowing off the things that are actually important, but then, making a big sacrifice. That's not really what matters. And that's essentially what God is saying. Yes, both are important. And we know in a relationship, obviously it's important to be able to make those sacrifices. But what's more important is knowing the person, knowing their likes and their dislikes, and striving to fill those, and striving to be in that, and to be that person. And that's what God is looking for with us. He wants us to know him. He wants us to know what is required of us. He wants to have that relationship with us. God required Saul to totally destroy the Amalekites and their possessions, but Saul did not do what was required. There was no uncertainty in the instruction given to Saul. nor was there any uncertainty in the message of Saul's outcome, what was going to happen. You know, as we read at the beginning of this lesson, Micah 6:8 speaks of things that God requires. There's no uncertainty in what Micah said. Let's go back to that scripture. And it says, He has showed you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? But to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. In Micah 6, the prophet asked 9 rhetorical questions intended to get his listeners to consider what God really wanted of them. His first few questions mentioned sacrifices that many Israelites regularly made. As he continued with the probing questions, there was progressive movement towards more extremism. It might be imagined that those who sacrificed thousands of rams or offered a child sacrifice were truly committed to the God that they worshipped. Such people would be accounted as holy or set apart to their God. But Micah's conclusion was very simple. Neither the normal sacrifice or the extreme offerings mattered if people were not obedient to what the Lord required. He has showed you, O man, what is good. What does the Lord require? To do justly, to love mercy, to walk humbly with your God. God was not requiring a difficult thing. What God required is attainable by every person, both then and now. God requires a person to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with Him. Some are willing to do a grand thing, but not a consistent thing. Perhaps some want their talent to be noticed, but are unwilling to humbly serve on, a hospitality team or as a servant. Some love to preach in the church building, but have no interest in teaching a Sunday school class or, volunteering for some other kind of ministry that's not in the spotlight, that's not in that way. These are similar to the people that Micah was addressing here. What the residents of Jerusalem were doing for the Lord was all external. It was all for show. God was and is more interested in the practical, in the actual application of what He wants, what He has said, in the actual obedience of the commands and the requirements that He has laid out. Accomplishing what the Lord requires does not necessitate a certain level of education or wealth. Instead, the Lord requires us to be obedient to Him in how we deal with others and in our attitude towards Him. It's important for us as we wrap up this week's lesson to remember these things that God has required. To go back through our spiritual house and say, are there any shelves here that I need to tear down? Are there any things here that are keeping me from obeying God's command wholeheartedly? Are there things that have kind of split my focus and pulled me away from where I should be in God? Or things that I think that I know better? We should really analyze ourselves and say and find those things and ask God to make that difference in our lives, to help us, to touch our hearts and our minds, to help us fix those things, to be able to walk humbly with Him, to be able to act justly, to be able to love mercy, to extend those things to others and the people around us, to be a light to those around us, and to completely do what God has required. I hope that you have enjoyed the lesson this week, but I hope even more than enjoying it, that it has made an impact on your life, has caused you to think about these things, has caused you to draw closer to God throughout this week. I hope to see you all at service on Sunday. God bless. Take care.